range of service industries with Anthony Albanese. I also had the opportunity to fly over the three Capes, which was absolutely spectacular in the southeast this morning. It's always great to be in Tasmania.
Thank you. Stephen.
Hi, Steve Conroy, Minister for Broadband Communication, and caught up with a small business that's just been connected to the National Broadband Network, and they were explaining to me how their old copper line used to drop out on them, sometimes for up to 15 hours in a day, and now they had a very cheap, affordable service that was really helping them promote their business on their website and to be able to do their orders. And tomorrow I'm doing what we call rodding and roping, which is pulling some cable through the pits that Telstra own, the holes in the ground where we're laying the cable. So here in Launceston tomorrow, I'll be pulling some cable through some pits.
Well, I think it's good we got the explanation. Minister Albanese.
Anthony Albanese, I'm the Minister for Infrastructure and Transport, and this morning with Wayne we were on the Tasman Peninsula for the opening of the first section of the Three Capes Walk, which will be a major tourism attraction here in Tasmania, and talking to the people who'd actually worked on the project. I then went and had a look at the Brooker Highway, and then had a meeting with David O'Byrne, the Infrastructure State Minister, about the next round of infrastructure nation building program here in Tasmania.
My name is Martin Ferguson. I'm the Minister for Resources, Energy and Tourism. As Tony indicated, we had a very, very important launch today of a new national landscape, Tasmania's Island Heritage, which will feature in Tourism Australia's international promotion of Australia, a very special focus on Tasmania. It's also lucky enough to open an extension to the Anvil Chocolate Factory up at Devonport. We made a grant of $110,000, which they matched, and that little operation, a family business, which started with a couple of employees, now employs 40 people, which is very, very important to Tasmania. I give credit to the family and all those workers for the tremendous job they're doing down here.
Good evening, I'm Greg Combay. I'm the Climate Change Minister and the Minister for Industry and Innovation. I visited a steel fabrication workplace in Launceston this morning called TasFab, to which we've made a grant of $400,000, which is helping them become more competitive and efficient and bring new technology in, and it was good to see. I was also at Youngtown Primary School, which was an enormously impressive place to visit, I have to say. You don't see too many schools as good as that, and the Building the Education Revolution money has been put to tremendously good use there, but the school has great leadership and really good kids that I met. I've met with a number of manufacturers from the region as well today, and I had a discussion with my Tasmanian counterpart in the climate change portfolio, Cassie O'Connor, about Tasmanian forests. Had a good day.
Good evening. My name is Jacinta Collins. I'm the Parliamentary Secretary for School Education and Workplace Relations, and I've been pleased to be back again in the Launceston area visiting schools, as I have previously with Jeff Lyons and Dick Adams, today with the Prime Minister as well. It's been mentioned to you that Ravenswood was a good example. It's also a good example for disability and also for students from poorer backgrounds. Great to visit both schools and to see yet more examples of how we're improving learning outcomes for kids.
Thank you. All of that work, it's across a wide range of areas, but all of that work is what the government is trying to do to make sure that we can achieve opportunities in our nation, create new opportunities and share those opportunities. We don't want to see any part of the country being left behind. A lot of the work you've heard about is about making sure that we are strengthening the economy here in Tasmania. We understand that there are some particular pressures here in the Tasmanian economy. We want to strengthen it for today because we want people to have jobs today, but we want it to be even stronger tomorrow, which is why we're focused on diversifying the local economy, rolling out the national broadband network, the first state in the country to get the NBN, why we think a clean energy future will be good for Tasmania, and why we're very focused too on the infrastructure that Tasmania needs. At the same time, we think it's pivotal to building a future that Tassie kids get the best quality education, a world-class education, which is why I've personally been so focused on what we're doing to improve Australian schools, create more apprenticeships, create more university places, but we've got more to do to make sure that every kid gets a chance. And we can, if we keep the economy strong, find better ways of including everybody in the life of the nation. We're very proud of our healthcare investments here in Tasmania, with more to come through the new $325 million health package, building on top of what was already record investment. And we're now very committed to taking our care and concern for Australians to the next stage and building a national disability insurance scheme. So they're the issues that are on our mind, but this is for you to raise the issues that are on your mind. So what I'm going to do is ask people to indicate they're interested in asking a question through a good old-fashioned show of hands. I'll move from one side of the room to the other, picking people, and a staff member will come and hold the microphone for you. If you could just give us your name and ask your question as briefly as possible. So we'll start over in this block here. I'll take the gentleman at the back. Yes, you, sir.
Hello. Michael Hurst from Give It Back. Prime Minister Gillard, thank you for coming down and listening to the community. We really appreciate it. Prime Minister Gillard, we only have 17% of the land mass available for agriculture. Of that, pretty much only about 5% can take irrigation infrastructure. So while agriculture is a really important industry, it's not going to save us. Our resources, our natural resources of both water and timber and agriculture are what we need to be able to use in a sustainable way. Can you please ask your ministers to stop locking up our state? We sit at 48% now. We're pulling our weight. Australia sits at 12. We've done enough. The current IGA process looks to lock up another 8.4% of the state. And when you lock it up, we can't even get carbon credits on it. Now, we can't afford this. I'm sure Treasurer Swan would understand that. Please stop locking up our state.
Okay. Very happy to answer your question. I'm very happy to answer your question and to explain what the intergovernmental agreement process is all about. I can assure you we did not sit in Canberra and come up with a view about the future of Tasmania and what should happen with forestry and with the creation of new reserves. We did not do that. What happened was change started here in Tasmania. And there will be all sorts of debates and disputes and different views about how that change came about, and I can understand that debate. But change was happening in Tasmania, the forestry industry was changing, and industry came to us and said, we are in a circumstance where people are going out of business, where we've got no real view about what will happen for our industry for the longer term. The whole thing is at risk of falling over. We are really worried about what that means for jobs. Will you get involved? That's how the federal government came to be involved in any discussions about forestry in this state. So you may have a view about what should be preserved or not preserved for the future, but your debate is actually not with us. We don't come with an agenda. We came because we were asked by industry to involve ourselves in a process. And that process, which had started, was a process where industry had recognised that things were changing. The environmental movement here in Tasmania had indicated it was willing to get into a conversation with industry. This was a major breakthrough given the history in this state. The parties wanted to come together and the parties wanted the federal government to play a role. We have consistently said our role is not to impose any solution on the state of Tasmania.